It said some very, very interesting things. That is part of why we are in day whatever. I don't know at this point.
No, I ain't gonna lie, bro. We was just listening to it at the beginning of this stream, and bro, I was dying. Like I said, I was dying listening to the press conference at work. I was dying listening to it on stream. I'm just like, hey, yo. He literally said Iran has a right to defend himself. He's like, so what? Iran can't? Well, you tell me Iran can't have missiles, but Saudi Arabia and Israel can? I was like, well, damn, Trump. I've been trying to make that argument for like 3 months, and I've been getting called a terrorist. Like, I wonder what they're going to call you.
Of the complete Zio meltdown, but they have decided to train their ire on one man. That man is not Donald Trump. It is J.D. Vance. So that is an interesting political dynamic that we want to dig into. We're also really excited to be joined by the editor of Amwaj Media. They have had a number of really significant scoops over the course of the Iran war. And so we're going to dig into the details of this memo of understanding, what it says, what it doesn't say, what it means in terms of the possibilities of war and peace going forward. So very much looking forward to that. Trump's new Fed chair has been part of the decision to keep rates the same in a significant announcement yesterday. Of course, Trump has been agitating aggressively for rates to be cut, so we'll see what he had to say on the matter. And the membership list of Peter Thiel's secret society has been leaked, as well as an eyebrow-raising agenda for their next confab. So a lot of very influential, powerful names on both sides of the aisle that have been revealed as part of that exclusive club, Sagar.
Yes, certainly. And maybe they'll meet next in Argentina, where he currently resides. Thank you to everybody who's been subscribing to the show, breakingpoints.com, to support us. Seriously, we deeply appreciate it. We've had so many new viewers who've been coming in and probably enjoying the Zionist meltdown with the rest of us. If you want to keep that up, breakingpoints.com, support our work over here. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit subscribe to our channel, and listening to this podcast, please share. And Versailles, here it is in all of its pomp and circumstance. Donald Trump, they're signing the memorandum of understanding in the hall.
Here's to be the Farsi version there.
Yeah. So, yep. And there's Trump pretty much signing a memorandum of understanding, guys. It is now official. If, Israel doesn't, but if Israel can contain themselves, which they most likely won't, and they've proven that they can't, but, maybe Trump could snap on BB one good time, or maybe we could just threaten financing them for one good time to get them to stay still. Who knows? But I don't see us taking any direct action towards Israel like we should. I wish upon a star that we just be like, you know what, Israel, if you don't cut this shit, we're just gonna stop funding you. And they'll stop. But we never take it there with them. And it's just such a simple fix. Just threaten their funding. That's it. That's all you got to do.
I think there's some Farsi, some English translation there as well. Everybody is clapping, surrounded by world leaders. The Secretary of State right behind him, and Macron leads 2 rounds of applause and cries of bravo as the document is signed. I'll hold some of my historical commentary here on Versailles here for a moment, but it is nonetheless.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. All of the European countries were going through a complete fuel crisis, so all of them were very, very happy that Trump was signing that deal. All of them.
Extraordinary. One of the reasons why it is being signed electronically and being transmitted between both sides is because they want immediate resumption of the passage of traffic through the Strait of Hormuz, which, as of this morning, 3 Saudi tankers appear to be making their way through the Strait of Hormuz. So it does show us that, some traffic is beginning to resume. And on the other side, the Iranians know that the moment it's actually signed, considered official, that they get the release of some of their funds, which Trump, of course, addressed. But as you said, we had a wild Trump press conference, which preceded all of this. It's like somebody injected truth serum into him. And all of a sudden, the gaffe is when a politician tells the truth. And there were a lot of gaffes, I think, throughout this entire one. First and foremost is Trump here on nuclear enrichment, being like, yeah, maybe we will let him enrich a little bit. Let's take a listen.
We've been pretty tough on that. It is a little hard, though, when you say that somebody wants it, other people have it, other adjoining states have it, and you're not letting them have it for purposes of electricity and things like that. It's always a little tough. You have to use a little common sense.
Now we're finally recognizing Iran as a signature of the Non-Proliferation Treaty, aka they do have a right to enrich, but who doesn't have a right to enrich or make bombs? Israel because they're not a signature of the non-proliferation treaty, and they have strategic ambiguity over their nukes, aka they don't got to claim it, but we all know about it. But we want to get on Iran's ass though, while we're over here letting Israel get away with all that. Yeah, and like I said, I guess Iran does have a right to defend themselves, and I guess Iran does have a right to enrich, according to the non-proliferation treaty, of course. Now, the whole right to defend themselves, I mean, come on now. If Israel got one, then so does Iran. If Israel can have missiles, if Saudi Arabia can have missiles, aka their enemies, then Iran should be able to have missiles as well. Like, come on, let's be fair here.
Please.
Yeah, I agree.
Got to use a little common sense.
Agreed. Yeah.
I mean, under
Thank you, Mr.
international
President.
law, it is their right to enrich for civilian purposes. But up to this moment, if you said that, you were mostly like a fringe lefty, usually radical, and now here you have the president like, well, I mean, let's be reasonable about this. Why would we ban them from enriching a little bit for civilian purposes?
Yeah, you were previously surrender monkey. If you said, hey, they said that we won't get a nuclear weapon. They even agreed not to enrich past a certain point for civilian purposes. So I used my common sense before the war, and I was like, what's the problem with that? And yet Trump consistently said that the Iranians would not commit to zero enrichment, as in zero enrichment of uranium whatsoever.
Yeah, he changed his goal. Bro, he moved the goalposts. Like I said, it went from Iran can't have a nuke to Iran can't have enrichment. And once Iran's proven that, they can fight for their right to enrich and their right to keep it. Well, now Trump got to change his stance to, well, they just can't make a nuke. So you got to remember, guys, his stance did switch up. And even Joe Kent called this out as well. Like, it went from Iran can't have a nuke to Iran can't enrich. And I'm be real with you, that's kind of like stepping on their sovereignty. This is a sovereignty argument.
Nuclear material, including for civilian or for medical purposes, and use that as a pretext. Remember, he would consistently say Iran won't, remember the magic words, they won't say the magic words, zero nuclear weapons, which he would define as zero enrichment. Anybody watching the show over 100 days ago, I guess now is very familiar, and now Trump has come full circle back to this
So
view.
much of it with him, too, was like whoever he last spoke with.
100%.
So I don't know who, maybe it was J.D. Vance last in his ear, but somebody gave him some new thoughts on the matter, because previously, and not just during this war, but leading up to it and the 12-day war and throughout the negotiations, which, they had a pretty reasonable deal on the table before they started bombing Iran the first time around. But in any case, he kept having his red line shifted by Israel and made more and more extreme. So it became not just no nuclear weapons, not just no nuclear enrichment whatsoever, but also we have to deal with the ballistic missile program, which is another area that he gets to here. And now he says, well, how does that make any sense if everybody else is allowed to have weapons and defend themselves?
Yeah, he literally started poking holes in Israelis' interests, in the line of logic of Israel's interests. It's like, hold on, bro. You want me to hold up the peace deals? So, the peace deal, so Iran can't have a missile? I'm sorry, but hold on now. Like, we got to hold up this entire piece that we all need because Iran got to water down their missiles. Like, bro, are you going to do that? Are you going to tell Saudi Arabia to do that? So why the hell would we tell Iran to water down their missiles while their enemy have it? And I'm sorry, but it's not like our foot is on the neck of Iran right now. Right now, their foot is on the neck of the global economy. Basically, they got us by the balls. So I'm not sure what leverage you guys are imagining that we have, but I'm here to tell you that we don't got it to be saying that or to be making that type of, or to have that type of stance.
Doesn't Iran have a right to defend itself too and have some sort of a military presence and have their ballistic missile program? Let's take a listen to that.
So we'll be working on a parallel effort with the Gulf nations to address non-nuclear issues such as the conventional ballistic missiles, which we'll be talking about, and support. I mean, they have to have some because other people have some. You got to have some. Somebody said you shouldn't give them one. And I have guys. I like some of these guys, but I don't think they're smart.
They're not.
Sir, you shouldn't let them have any missile. I said, well, what am I going to do? Am I going to let Saudi Arabia have missiles, but they can't have them? Yes, sir. Doesn't work that way,
That's what I'm saying. It's like complete delusion. It's like, I'm sorry, but no, unless we can sit there and completely overthrow Iran and make them submit to our whim, which we can't, it doesn't work that way. We can't get them to give up their missiles because, I'll be real with you, we kind of vindicated every need for their missile program. And we vindicated every need for them to be able to enrich uranium, be real with you. So why would they give any of that up when we just gave them full vindication for the necessity of it? Like, come on now.
It doesn't work that way. And missiles aren't the problem. Missiles they hurt a little location, but they don't blow up the planet.
Just
Yeah.
absolutely
Smart.
true.
Yeah, yeah.
Accurate. What, you're going to let everybody else know? You're going to let Israel have whatever they want from our stockpiles, but you're not going to let Iran have any missile, as he said.
In other words, Iran has a right to defend itself,
bro,
right? That's what
it was so crazy what they were asking for. It was pretty much saying, well, Israel got to what? Well, Iran got to water down their missiles to what? They can only attack like within their own region. So pretty much saying that Iran got to water down their missiles to where they can't even defend themselves, basically. And it's just like, bro, who the hell's agreeing to that? Like, what, bro? Did you overthrow the IRGC first? How about that? Do that first, then make no demands. Until you do that, don't make no demands like that. Boy.
Does Iran have a right to exist?
Does Iran have a right to? Iran has a right to exist and a right to defend itself, right? Yeah, he's right. I mean, part of this just belies the basic fact. Yes, when you lose a war, there are two things that have to happen. Number one, you don't get everything that you want, and two, you have to pay them a lot of reparations. This is Lindy. It's a tale as old as time. You don't conquer the place, thus you got to take some gold out of the treasury and haul it on over and sign a memorandum. And as if that doesn't hold, then you go back to war. This is what happens, people. Sorry. I mean, the about face in 100 days is kind of what's so shocking about it. But at a basic level, yeah, it's true. But that's why by uttering these truths for the first time, look, from Trump, he can reverse, at any.
He could say something different today.
Right.
Yeah.
He could say something different today. But there is power in the truth. And there is power in what we have been trying to emphasize here for quite some time. How is it that you can allow Israel, a rogue state, to have a secret nuclear weapons program, to have missiles, to bomb 7 of its neighbors, to conquer and annex parts of Syria, the West Bank, Lebanon, and Gaza, and then in a straight face say, you're not allowed to have any even civilian nuclear enrichment. You're not allowed to have any ballistic missile threat. You cannot do that. Or you can. You have to take over the entire country.
Literally. That's what I'm saying. It's like, I mean, you can do that, but you better be dominating that entire country. You better be the one running that country. You can't sit there and say that to a sovereign nation that's able to defend you off. It's like, it doesn't work like that. Like, are you serious? Like, please, give up your missiles that you're using to hold me off from destroying your country. Like, please give those up. Like, what?
Right. And so that's why by saying, yes, they have a right to defend itself. And sure, a civilian nuclear, we can't say that. And they're like, oh, but you're going to pay them. It's like, yeah, we have to pay them. Otherwise, they're going to continue to keep the Strait of Hormuz. And even paying, as Trump soon addresses, is not even really paying them. We're paying them with their own money, like Obama did, the so-called pallets of cash. Let
me just react to what you just said, because I think you made an important point about the power of truth and the power of reality. And I think that has overwhelmed the propaganda efforts, which were very minimal, by the way, for this war.
And honestly, I think Trump released the sanctions on the oil and petrochemicals to kind of hide the embarrassment of having to send pallets of cash like Obama did. Because remember, he sent the pallets of cash because of all the damn sanctions. Like, we had to give them back their money somehow, and the only way to do it was through pallets of cash. I mean, hopefully Trump can avoid that embarrassment, because I'm gonna be real, that's gonna be a shitload of pallets of cash that we're gonna be sending these guys. Like $12 billion in cash. Boy, that's gonna suck to give. And that's if they just pull up to the talks.
Be pathetic and poorly organized and changing day by day. But the ability of the American people to see through some of that propaganda has really overwhelmed this war effort. And American foreign policy.
What? There's a bro talk about, remember, they started this because of their blockage of the water passage. Dude, no, we started this when we bombed them first. When Israel pretty much dragged us into this, said they were going to bomb them first, we just followed them up. Guess what, bro? They've been told us that if we strike them, they'll close the strait and they'll attack our assets in the region. They said this, and we did it anyway. And the reason why we did it with knowing that they will close the strait is because Bibi told us that we can knock them off within 96 hours to 2 weeks. Look how that worked out for us.
is increasingly built on propaganda and lies.
Yes.
Whether it's things like, oh, Israel's the most moral army on the planet and they're our great allies and it's really great for our interests. Eventually, especially, I mean, in part because of social media, because you have a much more diverse media ecosystem, you know, you're not able to just keep people in the mainstream press where these propaganda efforts are, you know, come with very few holes in them, are very cohesive. Since you have that access, people are just not buying this fantasy world. And the fantasy world is becoming more and more preposterous by the day. I told you a while ago, I was shocked by this. I was talking to my mom, who is not like particularly political. Most of her life has been an independent. Now she hates Trump. So she's definitely, you know.
Bro, oy vey, bro. What? Bro literally said no with the blockade. Like, no, dog, it was our tax. Like, what? No, Iran didn't just wake up on a beautiful Sunday morning and just said, F it, we're closing the strait, bro. No. They woke up and realized that, holy shit, the Americans just attacked us. I guess we're closing the strait, guys.
For Democrats by and large. But she was talking about Iran and she was like, I don't really get it. Like, we're allowed to have nuclear weapons.
Yeah,
they aren't.
exactly.
She's like, that doesn't seem fair to me.
Yeah,
I was like, wow.
Hey, and shout out AJ. Shout out AJ for sending the high five. Appreciate the support, sis. I'm gonna go ahead and give you a celebration because you sent multiple gifts. But all right though. Let's get back to it. I'm glad that made everybody laugh. And hold on, a Trump hating channel? No. I'm critical of Trump, but I don't hate Trump. Like, come on now. Actually, the man's pretty funny. I ain't gonna lie, the man still brings me like entertainment. He's funny. What could I say, bro? The man is a riot. Bro. Like, I can't really hate Trump. Like, I can't sit there and have full TDS towards Trump. I never will. I'll just be honest with you guys. I'll be critical with him or critical of him, but full on TDS, everything this man does is wrong. No, that's not true. Immigration was great. Working and what he was doing with the economy before the war was heading in the right direction. Like, I got to give that to the man. When he hopped into this war, he did fuck a lot of that up, though. Let's not play stupid here.
Mom, okay. I was pretty shocked that she said that. But people are seeing through a lot of these lies and these propaganda that has been built up over years and years and years. So look, Trump, the one danger with him always is that people hear on one day something that they want to hear from Trump, just as the Zionists who wanted this war were hearing a lot of things from him that they wanted to hear over a lot of days. And now he's saying something different and doing something different, at least for the moment. And so they're, oh my God, he betrayed us. He's shocked. I mean, this man will turn on a dime at any moment. There is no person he is loyal to. There is no country he is loyal to outside of himself. So, it's remarkable to hear him say these things that, of course, if Obama said it, if Biden said it, it would be, and we would still be hearing about it on Fox News, et cetera. It is remarkable to hear him say those things. But of course, it doesn't mean that this is his fixed, locked-in position. Sure. Doesn't mean that we won't go back to war tomorrow. I mean, Israel is still bombing Beirut. All of this is very tenuous and unstable. But the reason to talk about it is not because Trump is a reliable or good actor here. The reason to talk about it is because I think you're right. I think there is power in truth. And I think these are a lot of things that the American people have intuited, yes, which is why they have been so opposed to this war from the beginning in a way that is truly unprecedented in, I think, in American history.
Mm-hmm.
Bro, because this war did not give us any benefits. Bro, even our allies was out here working behind our back to try to make things better for themselves. Because even though we don't need the strait, well, guess what? A shitload of our allies needed that strait. Man, yeah, I guess I'm going off of the curse words today. Like I said, guys, don't worry. I'll limit myself to 10 curse words tomorrow. But tonight, I guess I'm just uncensored tonight. But yeah, let's get back to it.
Let's just stick again, and I know some of this is repetitive for longtime viewers. I'm sorry, but let's just think about, let's go back to Biden logic. It's like, we have to arm Ukraine because they're being invaded. Israel invades Gaza, the West Bank, Syria, and Lebanon, annexes their territory in violation of international law, and we enable it and we ship them weapons.
I mean, that's a really good point, though. He's pretty much saying that, Iran could pretty much use the same logic for Hezbollah and Hamas that we use for pretty much funding and arming Ukraine. It's like, well, Israel's attacking Lebanon and they're attacking Lebanese people and Hezbollah. They are attacking the Palestinian people and Hamas. So What's wrong with Iran doing the same thing that we're doing? And here's the thing. I don't even like the fact that I don't even like what we're doing in Ukraine. So, of course, I'm going to disagree with Iran doing what they're doing as well. But they got a good point, though. It's like the double standard is crazy.
So, hold on. What a second. Buka's a genocide. Gaza. Oh, that's what is it? Self-defense action. Horrific civilian casualties. Except one is orders of magnitude bigger than the other. That doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense, does it?
Even the framing of Iran as like the singular evil.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, people watched us and Israel commit a genocide in Gaza for years. And then we go out and try to do our moral preening in the world. Oh, the Islamic terrorist regime, but they're shooting protesters in the street. It's not that Americans are looking at this and go, oh yeah, Iran, they're actually the good guys.
Right.
They're just going like, well, who are we really at this point to go out and lecture the world on moral values?
Thank you. And that's what it is. It's just like, I mean, guys, I get it. I'm against it too, but I mean, you know, we're doing it too. And we're lecturing them on pretty much not doing what we do ourselves. Like, oh, don't fund terrorism. Well, we fund Al-Qaeda and we funded ISIS and we tossed in way more money into these terrorist organizations that Iran could even build up. Bro, I'm pretty sure we didn't toss Iran's entire GDP into these terrorist organizations. Remember, we was giving the Taliban $40 million a week. So what does that tell you? So yeah, it is really hard to sit there and get mad at Iran when we do the same shit. And like I said, like I want them to stop too, but I also want us to cut the shit as well.
And do we really believe that Donald Trump is so deeply concerned about the rights of protesters in the street in Tehran? Of course, it's preposterous. And so the fantasy world has become so divorced from reality that people did not buy it. They have access to information they didn't used to have. And now you have an American president who is acknowledging things that, you know, and again, this can change in a moment, but who is acknowledging obvious, logical things that many Americans intuited. And it is hard to put that understanding back in the bottle.
Absolutely. Yeah. Same with Iraq. I mean, we were greeted as liberators.
Right.
We're going to bring them democracy. We all lived through that. We all knew this is bullshit from day one. It's only the same people who pushed the war are the very same people who are parroting those truths, which is ironic because in most cases, that's the exact same people who are defending and who were pushing it. But as you said,
and like I said, it's the same propaganda that they used for the Iraq war. They didn't even bother switching it up and people still bought it. And everybody admits that the Iraq war was a mistake, but they're still eating up the same propaganda that led us into it. It's like, are you guys serious? Like, it's low-key insanity. Like, you guys keep falling for the same propaganda, and you keep trying the same thing over again, hoping for a different result. And I mean, we've been trying to do this whole nation building or spreading democracy in the Middle East. Never worked out for us. Same results, but we keep on trying though, huh?
There is immense power in the truth. Here is the next one from Donald Trump about Iran's money and how can we just keep it? That would undermine faith in the dollar. Let's go and put A3 and let's listen.
Can you explain, though, what the difference is between giving Iran U.S. dollars and unfreezing U.S. dollars for
Well,
you?
the unfreezing is the easy one to answer. We have taken a lot of their money, and we have their money. We have taken their money. It's not our money. It's their money, and we froze it. At a certain point in time, I guess we're going to have to give it back. You know, if we didn't give it back, nobody would ever invest in the dollar again.
I mean,
if you took their money, because I thought about
you know what? I've had that same position. Like, low-key sanctions aren't really helping us. All it does make these countries find a way around our currency system or the stride system. Like, that's all it does. And then here's the thing, all it does is cause further distrust in our dollar. Like, why would anybody want to keep on dealing with us when they don't know when they'll wake up and we just snatch all of their money because we put a sanction on them because they're doing something that we disagree with, or maybe we just don't wake up, we just don't like them one day. Like, who wants to literally put their assets at risk like that? And that's what we do with sanctions. We create that fear of these guys one day waking up and all their assets are gone because of all the money or because of all the trade that they're doing in American dollars. So yeah, sanctions, all we do is help, make these countries go around it and make them engineer new ways to go around it. Look how Russia is doing it. Look how North Korea is doing it. They're still doing pretty well. They're still up and running. Their regimes are still in place. So the sanctions aren't working, guys. All it's doing is causing further distrust and making these guys get a little bit more economically savvy.
You know, I'm not the most perfect person. I said to Scott, why do we keep their money? What the hell are we giving it back to them? But, you know, people from lots of nations, some nations we don't agree with, they have their money. The dollar's become very strong under me. And they don't want to have a little conflict with somebody and end up having the United States just take their money. So if you do that, you really don't have a system.
You're right, sir. Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And yet,
that's what I'm saying. When I was listening to this, I'm just like, bro, he's cooking. Like, first off, bro, sounding like me. Like, bro, he's sounding like the America First side again. I'm just like, all right, Trump, keep cooking. I'm not mad at what he's saying, bro. He's not wrong. And it's kind of crazy that he's now just saying this out loud. Like, bro, if you'd have just been saying this 3 months ago, we wouldn't be here. But hey, it is what it is.
Again, you know, this is a neocon worldview, is that the United States can be the world's reserve currency and bank that just declares when somebody who's spooky and bad doesn't get to have access to their money, like we did with Russia. You know, I'm coming back to Russia. We just said, oh, no, actually, all of your money, it's ours. And as we said at the time, we're like, hey, we're going to blow up the integrity of the entire international banking system and create a alternative, you know, cycle of crypto and of the
low key. I mean, bro, we created BRICS through our aggression, to our aggressive use of sanctions. Like, we created our own worst enemy with sanctions. That's why I'm saying we should stop using them. They should be abolished. And why? So people be able to trust the system and they don't think they got to kiss our ass to be a part of it. Because I mean, who would trust any system like that?
Chinese yuan that will be used to circumvent the US bank, which actually makes us weaker. That's exactly what happened. And then how did Iran actually facilitate some of those 2 million? And we know at least some people paid the toll. How did they pay? Either in yuan or they paid in crypto. Well, guess what? He laid the ground for that, again, with what happened after Ukraine. So you are watching the reckoning, and we're actually going to talk about this later. People are now bullish back on the dollar after a result of this because they're like, oh, hey, actually, you know, we could go back to the world's reserve status. It's bad for the United States, especially in an emerging multipolar system where people who are, quote, enemies or bad, or for a president can at any time just turn his back and say all of your money is ours to be able to keep it. You know, this reminds me of the whole palace of cash situation, which I'll be honest, at the time I fell for it because I didn't do enough research. But going back, Trita Parsi outlined all of this on Tucker Carlson's show and laid it out extremely well. He's like, look, he had a certain amount of money, which was paid by the Shah to the United States for arms. We didn't send the arms. We kept the money. The Iranian regime took the U.S. to court at The Hague, and The Hague was going to rule against us. So we had to send back the money with interest because that's the rule. And we sent back what was their money.
Well, and when they were sanctioned from using any of the...
I mean, that's kind of slick, though. It's like, so, I mean, that's kind of slick. I ain't gonna lie. I kind of like the way Obama did that. He's like, well, we were going to give it up anyway. I mean, let's tie it into this deal. Let's get them to give up some of their rich stockpiles instead of just losing this trial. Instead of, just losing this court case where we have to give Iran the money. How about this? Let's just make this a part of the Iranian deal. And we just give it to them anyway. It's like, that's pretty slick. I ain't going to lie. Huh.
Traditional banking system. So how else are you going to get?
We are talking about Obama. I mean, Obama, the guy that was walking around promising what? The Secretary of State position, like 4 different people just to backstab them all. So we'll talk about that guy. So shout out to Obama, I guess, on that note. Slick individual. I'll be real with you.
Get them the money, then sending them pallets of cash. And that is the piece where this one is the hardest for me to stomach from Trump, because he has demagogued like so much against the JCPOA and the provisions in there and the pallets of cash. I mean, he did the whole thing all in on those, talking about how weak Obama was, how terrible deal it was, and how we sent them these pallets of cash to fund their terrorist activities, blah, blah, blah. So it is a little bit hard for me to stomach him now acknowledging.
I ain't gonna lie. It's kind of crazy now that I'm thinking about it. Like, Obama sent them money that they were going to win in a court case anyway, and he just attached it to a deal. It's like, what? The underhandedness is low-key kind of cold. I'll admit. It's like, so we were going to lose the court case and have to give it to him anyway, but instead we said, nah, F that. We're just going to go ahead and give it to him as part of this deal. We're going to paint it in like that. All right.
The truth.
Hey. And it got, to what? It got their stockpile reduced. It got them the 3.6% enrichment, and no American lives were lost. No billions of dollars was spent on war. I mean, yeah, it does sound like Obama's plan worked out way better. Diplomacy usually works out better than going to war. I would hope you guys would understand this by now.
When it comes to him and his deal of, hey, this is actually their money, and at some point we probably should give it back. Otherwise, this becomes in a way a problem for us, because if we are continually using and abusing our status as the world's reserve currency, our domination of the global financial system, then of course nations are going to figure out alternatives. And that is already happening in nascent form. And already our sanctions and the power of those sanctions, they're still powerful, don't get me wrong, but already they're beginning.
Hey, and shout out to my man Noah Joyner. He says, good morning, Set. Have you seen the videos of foreigners in America? Yeah, I actually have. Yeah, for the World Cup, trying our food and going to Walmart. You know, I've seen some of the videos. I remember one of the guys looked at our food and was like, what in God's name is this? I was like, yeah, bro, I feel the same way, bro. I look at our ingredients in our food and I'd be like, what in God's name are they doing? Like, they is trying to kill us. But no, I also did see some of them didn't love our food as well. I ain't gonna lie. I do kind of like the I would say the sharing of the culture. I know the mixing of the culture is a bit of a trigger word for a lot of people, but I do like this sharing of culture.
To be diminished and less of a threat than they used to be. Now, that's probably a good thing for the world. But if you're an American president and you're interested in preserving American empire, not such a great thing.
No, it's a disaster. And yeah, I mean, in 1998,
Nah, Jay, you cooking. Drop all sanctions across the board and watch the dollar bounce back. That's a whole lot of people that's going to start using the dollar again. Yeah, honestly, sanctions, we're shooting ourselves in the foot and we're thinking that we're using it as a stick against people we don't like. Like, come on now, or countries we don't like.
Makes a lot of sense. Sure. Where else are you going to go? In 2026? Nope. There's a lot of different avenues that you can go through. And if you're willing to sit there and to suffer.
And shout out to my man, Noah. You do get to celebrate. All right. Let's get back to it, though. Shout out to my man, Noah. And if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, make sure to super chat it in, Venmo, or PayPal, guys. Appreciate the support.
Which ultimately, that's what happened. The Iranians were like, okay, we're going to take a massive hit. People are going to starve. People are going to be poor. But at the end of the day, we're going to hold out for victory. We're literally under, consistent bombing and attack. This is a absolute war of survival. And as all regimes that are under that exact type of pressure, they did not buckle. They got stronger. They held out for potential terms. And we eventually had to bend the knee. This is how things were going to work out. As you said, by the way, I think this is a good thing. This actually is a healthy dynamic. But this is why it is so intolerable for Israel, because if we treat Iran like a normal country, that erases their regional hegemony over the entire world. That erases the fact that we now have to balance these different interests. And I made this point with Dr. Parsi. Iran's GDP is only 100 billion less than the entire nation of Israel. Now, granted, Israel has a much higher GDP per capita, but there are plenty of small, high GDP per capita nations, which
Iran's GDP is about to go from like 300 to like $900 billion, probably within the next 5 to 10 years. If everything works out with them, with the 300 billion in economic restabilization and reconstruction, they get the $24 billion in assets, and then oh man, they're already getting the sanction release. So all the potential earnings from that, bro, 5 to 10 years, bro, their GDP is going to triple.
Overall GDP don't make them particularly.
You know what? I don't know what the Middle East is going to look like with an enriched Iran, but I mean, we'll just have to fuck around and find out. Because I mean, this is what we're left to. We're left with the effing around and finding out option. I'm sorry, but
see, as you can see, the more you fuck around, the more you're going to find out.
And we are at the finding out part, people. We are at the finding out part for sure.
Really important to the rest of the world. You have Iran here, which unsanctioned and reconstructed with that 300 billion. If they're able to sell oil into the global market to export, any of this and then use it to invest 25 years from now, between the Strait of Hormuz and the strength of their economy, this is going to be a geopolitical, maybe not powerhouse, but regional power like Robert Pape has consistently said. And he really deserves, he's the first person who really gave me the, vision of this framework. He's right. Between the power of geography and then their ability to export this amount of oil, not to mention, look, they have, as the neocons always said, there's a lot of intellectual capital that's locked up in Iran. Sure. If they have the ability over the next 25 years to operate as a normal nation, there is no reason that they will not become massively more economically and strategically important to the world. And just to show the power of their bargaining chip, finally, everybody, I have the number one chirp that annoys me is people say,
I'm gonna be real with you though. Yeah, it could get to a point where Iran is just way more of a partner to us than Israel. It could turn into that. We could be looking at Israel like, oh, well, we need to stop Iran, bro. Iran is out here making sure the oil prices stay low. What are you doing, Israel? You over here trying to make them go back high. So yeah, it's looking like bro. This goes out. If this goes away, well, that Robert Pape is seeing it. Yeah, Iran could come out as a fourth world power, and we're actually going to have to respect their authority on the world stage. We have to push Israel off to the side because not only have to respect their authority, but their economic leverage that they have as well. And if they are enriched, that means they'll only have more economic leverage. Oh boy, it's going to be tough dealing with that reality, but it's not that bad. I'm be honest with you. It's not the end of the world.
Said oil was going to hit 200. I'm like, sorry, I didn't foresee that China.
Dude, complete war with them. That'd really cooked us. So this, I can't be mad at.
And it would cut 40% of all of its imports for the first time ever in human history.
Thank you,
I
China.
apologize.
Thank you, China.
Also, you should be thanking China. You should be happy I was wrong. And you should thank China for having better EVs and for a shit ton more oil reserve than we do. But we also kept pointing to one thing, the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. And we're like, hey, all these oil executives say, another month or two, or this is going to be a real problem. And what did everybody say? Oh, you're wrong. It's not happening. Look at the delusional traders on Wall Street. Well, same power in the truth. Here's Trump saying we had 4 weeks until every strategic petroleum reserve ran dry. Let's take a listen.
Also, we run out of reserves in about 4 weeks. You know, there are reserves all over the world, and we would.
Yo, and that was the banger right there. I was like, yeah, when I was trying to tell people that, our reserves are going to run low. And also our munitions is also running low as well. But we couldn't continue this. We could not keep it going. If we'd kept this going, bro, the oil spike would have been insane. Like I said, like $10 to $12 a gallon of oil. And you guys have been looking at the tank like, oy vey. Oh my God. But, hey, at least somebody's going to be happy. And that's going to be the oil industry.
Really run out. And there'll be a time when you wouldn't be able to get it. And you want to see bedlam?
They're going to oversell.
Bedlam.
That's what we were headed towards.
Again, Chevron CEO, all roar.
Today, I'm weak. He says, when the last time I heard from Monty? Today? What you mean? Shout out to my man Monty. Me and Monty always go back and forth on X. Me and him was actually getting into it over Sharia law, and I took the I'll be real with you. I be starting shit on X. I ain't gonna lie. I was out there going like, all right, guys, explain to me why Sharia law is unconstitutional. And people are kind of having a hard time explaining it because they don't really know what Sharia law is. And if you want to say Sharia law is unconstitutional, then you got to say Jewish law is unconstitutional, Hindu law is unconstitutional, because all countries got their little cutouts in this, all religions and people got the little cutout in this country where they practice their own cultural law. So if we're saying that's unconstitutional, then we got to go across the board. And me and Monty's kind of arguing that right now on X. But I love Monty though, as much as me and him get into it. The damn stubborn bastard. But you gotta love the stubborn bastard sometimes.
These people deserve credit. They were not incorrect.
Yeah.
All they did not foresee was China having one of the world's largest strategic petroleum reserves and massively cutting their energy imports, which I will just say nobody literally could have foreseen that except for the CCP. If China had continued to import oil, the current estimate is oil would have been over $150 to $170 a barrel. Now here, whenever it comes to the strategic reserve, they have access to because the data is all out there. We can all see, lowest level since 1998. Next week, lowest level since 1984. We're like, well, there's not that much oil there. And then when they do, we know how much that we produce on a daily basis. We have no slack in the system. We know what direction that's going to go. Same here from Trump. We would have run out of oil and it would have been bedlam. Mm-hmm. So the basic reality is that Iran's strategy was correct and that fundamentally the weapon of the Strait of Hormuz will remain for all time a part of the Iranian playbook. And it should be from their perspective. We can either change that by occupying their nation and taking hundreds of thousands of casualties, or we can pay them and we can just live together. I choose the latter. I think most people do too.
It's very interesting to hear Trump say this.
Like, I don't like Iran coming out more empowered, but it's better than the destruction of the entire global economy and the destruction of the Middle East. It's better than that. And that was what we were going towards, by the way. And of course, it's way better than putting ground troops and the tens and thousands of American lives that would be lost and billions of dollars that would be wasted. So considering that that was the other option, I can't be mad. I could be irritated, but not all that upset,
to say the least, because I mean, this is what the Iranian bet was, right? They bet that we could not take the economic pain, that they could, and that it would hurt us more, and it would force us to come to the table and give them the terms that they had long been seeking. This is confirmation that they were.
But all right, though, I do have that Ben Shapiro video.